Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rahmi Hidayati. Today I would like to presentate my research plan about the effect of using TPR in teaching vocabulary for 7th grade students at MTsN 1 Tasikmalaya. So the first one is I want to explain about the background. So as you know that when we are learning English, there are 4 skills that we must learn. There are reading, speaking, writing, and listening skill. But the most basic things and the important things that we must learn is about the vocabulary. As you know that the students may not be able to make a sentence of paragraph or even the essay without the knowledge of the vocabulary, right? So how can we learn the vocabulary to our students? So there are a lot of methods that we can use when we are teaching vocabulary to our students. But one of the method is TPR. The TPR method is often used by the teachers when they are teaching about the vocabulary or common forms or the adjective. So the teachers can use body gestures to teach new vocabulary to our students, and the students will easier to remember the new vocabulary. So the next is about the research question. So in my research question is, does TPR method affect students' vocabulary in 7th grade students of MTsN 1 Tasikmalaya? That's my research question. And then the next is about the aim of the research. Just like the other research, the purpose or the aims of the research itself. So my aims on the research is to find out whether the TPR affects students' vocabulary or not, especially in 7th grade students in MTsN 1 Tasikmalaya. The next is about the use of the research. So the use of my research is later on when we are already know that the TPR affects students' vocabulary. It can be used as the reference to the other teachers when they want to teach vocabulary to students. So the next is about the operational definition. So as you can see, the TPR is the independent variable, and then the dependent variable is the vocabulary mastery. So what is the differences between my research and the other research about the use of TPR in learning vocabulary? So in my research, when next the teachers use the TPR in real teaching, so the teachers will use the body gestures and then to add one word. For example, the teachers will add one word, and then the students will guess what is that word. Or we can point out one student to add one word, and then the rest will guess the word. I think it will be more fun to learn new vocabulary, because through the method, students will be attractive and easy to remember the new vocabulary. So the next is about the literature review. The first one is about the total cycle response or TPR. So according to Richard J., TPR is a language learning method built around the coordination of speech and action. It attempts to teach language through cycle or motor activity. So TPR is learning method that is structured on the coordination of commands, speech, and motion. But TPR itself is developed by the Asher in 1988. He stated that TPR is based on premise the human brain has biological program for acquiring any natural language in the world by observing how children acquire the mother tongue. So the next is about the vocabulary. Crystal in 2008 states that vocabulary is a fixed set of words used as part of the definition of other words. So the vocabulary set of words processed by someone which is used to communicate in spoken or written forms. It can be concluded with the statement from Richard in 2002 that he explained that the vocabulary is the core component of language fluency and provide much of the basic for how well learners speak, listen, read, and write. The next is about the research method. So in this study, I use experimental design because we want to find out the effect of independent variable on dependent variable. The next is population and samples. So the population and sample I use is 30 students at MTsN 1 Tasikmalaya. The sample was chosen by using cluster random sampling, which means that the group is already exists and then randomly selected. The research will held around 25th until 30th January at MTsN 1 Tasikmalaya. So this is the detailed activity of the research. So in the first meeting, we will inform about the research and its purpose. The second one is we will hold the pre-test to measure the basic knowledge of the students about vocabulary, and then in the third until the fifth meeting, we give the treatment. The last is post-test. So we give the post-test to students to measure the improvement of students' vocabulary after we give the treatment. Next is about the data collection. So based on RE et al. In 2019 mentioned that one group pre-test and post-test usually involves 3 steps. The first is pre-test, the second one is treatment, and then the third is post-test. So the data was collected from the result of pre-test and post-test. So the next is data analysis. So after we collect the data, so the data will be analyzed using paired sample test. So at the end, we can know whether the hypothesis is accepted or not by the result of the paired sample test. Here are my references of my study. So that's all my presentation about my research with the title The Effect of Using TPR in Teaching Vocabulary for 7th grade students of MTsN 1 Tasikmalaya. Hope you guys enjoy this video, learn new things from me, and then I'm sorry because I have a lot of mistakes. Thank you for the attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.